The third topic in Chapter 3 of Kelley is about the Dagesh Forte. Dagesh Forte. What's a Dagesh Forte? We've heard about a Dagesh, but we're going to have to learn about another. There's two categories of Dageshes. One's a Dagesh Lene, that's the one we've learned about to this point, and then there's the Dagesh Forte. Let's go, before we even start looking at the grammar, let's go take a look at the jungle. Here's some words. And if we look at number 1 here, we see it contains a dot, a Dagesh, in this middle letter, and we recognize that as one of the Begad Kafat letters, and so we say to ourselves at this point, well, I wonder if that is just a regular old pronounce it hard kind of a dot, a Dagesh Lene. The next one, number 2, Gibor. Gibor has 2 Begad Kafat letters in it, and so we're asking ourselves, is that all those are? And the same thing, Diber in number 3. But when we get over to number 7 here, for instance, we've got Kisei. Now I say, wait a minute, Kaf is a Begad Kafat letter, but the Samic is not. What's that dot doing in there? Is it the same thing? And I didn't know there were 2 different pronunciations of Samic. Well, there aren't, and so you're right about that. Let me see, this Lamed over here in number 12 also has a dot in it. In number 11, you see there's a dot in this Vav, but that's not a Dagesh at all. That's merely the dot that in a Vav that indicates that it's not even a Vav. It's a Shurek, that vowel oo sound right here. So don't confuse that one for either of the Dagesh Lene or the Dagesh Forte. So what in the world are we talking about? Well, with back to your grammar here. It says we studied earlier the Dagesh Lene. It's a dot that's placed in these 6 consonants, the Begad Kafat letters, in order to indicate that they're given the hard pronunciation. Dagesh Forte is identical in appearance to Dagesh Lene, but has a different purpose completely. It indicates the doubling of the consonant in which it stands, and it may be placed in any consonant except for the gutturals. Now, we talked when we first introduced the gutturals, we talked about the fact that they were going to make life miserable, and we even talked about why it is you can't do 2 of them in a row. If we say that a consonant is doubled, we're saying that you're pronouncing 2 of them in a row, and gutturals just that's very, very hard to do, and so they just don't accept Dagesh Forte in them to double. So that's 5 letters, but then you say, well, okay, so you take 5 away from 22, that's 17. So that's fine, but some of those, the Begad Kafat letters, can go either way. So how do you tell? Here's what it comes down to. How do you tell if a dot is in a Begad Kafat letter? If it is there indicating that we're going with the hard pronunciation of that letter, that means Dagesh Lene, or if it's sitting in that letter to indicate that that letter is actually doubled, in which case we'd call it a Dagesh Forte. Well, there's some, the way that Kelley comes at it is to formulate a set of rules here, and if you can get your mind around these rules, that's great. I'm going to try to show you something here in just a minute that I think may be even clearer or more intuitive. But let's look at the rules as he's formulated. First of all, in paragraph 1 here, he says, a dot in any letter other than a Begad Kafat letter is a Dagesh Forte. Indicates the doubling of that letter. That should be a no-brainer. So if it's not in a Begad Kafat letter, so 22, take away the 5 gutturals, that's 17. Take away the Begad Kafats, that's the other 11 letters. If you see a dot in them, no questions asked, it's a Dagesh Forte, and it means that the consonant is being doubled. Number 2, a dot in a Begad Kafat letter will be a Dagesh Lene. Therefore, pronunciation. Whenever that letter is not immediately preceded by a full vowel. And I've written in my grammar the word full. If you remember, there are full vowels and half vowels, and schwa, and there's going to be a silent schwa that we're going to talk about in the next paragraph. So I'd suggest you write that in. So if you see a full vowel in front of a begad kafat letter, and if you can remember that rule, you know right off the bat, then that Dagesh is a Dagesh lene, and it's there to tell you to pronounce the hard pronunciation. But in number 3 here, in a begad kafat letter, it's going to be a Dagesh Forte whenever that letter is immediately preceded by a full vowel. So did I mispronounce the number 2 here? It's Dagesh lene whenever that letter is not immediately preceded by a full vowel. It's a Dagesh Forte whenever that letter is immediately preceded by a vowel. So this next sentence may be easier to comprehend. It says another way of stating these last 2 rules is that Dagesh lene never stands after a vowel, whereas Dagesh Forte always stands immediately after a vowel. And again, in both of those cases, I think he should have made it clear, full vowel. Dagesh lene never stands after a full vowel, and Dagesh Forte always stands after a full vowel. So if we go back and look at some of these examples, this is about pronunciation. So here in number 7, this is not a since this is a samic, it's neither a guttural nor a begad kafat letter. So we look at the first letter, and it is a begad kafat letter. Is there a full vowel in front of it? This hirik is actually after it. Is there a full vowel in front of it? No. That means then that it has to be a Dagesh lene, and it's there telling you make a hard pronunciation. Ki, and the first vowel, first syllable is actually kis, because this is doubled. Kis, and the second syllable is say. Kis say, and you don't actually say kis say any more than you say lit tol in English to say the word little. It just happens very fast, but there are actually 2 consonants there. As we're going to see in this example here, number 8, this schwa is schwa right now we know as a half vowel, but this one is actually a silent schwa, and so it stands right in front of this thing. It's not a full vowel. Consequently, this pei right here, that's a Dagesh lene telling us hard pronunciation. So we'll talk more about the silent schwa and its relationship to these Dagesh lene and Dagesh Forte in a little bit. So going to the quiz here, Dagesh Forte appears as a dot in the consonant. Dagesh Forte indicates that the consonant is doubled. What group of Hebrew consonants will not accept the Dagesh Forte? You got it, the gutturals. And when it comes to begad kafat letters, you know that it is a Dagesh Forte and not a Dagesh lene when, and then we go back to those set of rules, it's a Dagesh Forte whenever that letter is immediately preceded by a full vowel. Well, have a great time with it, and only got one more section here in Kelley chapter 3.